Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very sad topic. We will be talking about death, namely cancerophobia, the fear of getting cancer. We can't tell that this phobia is absurd, because oncological diseases grow more and more every year. So there is a reason to be afraid of it. As for flying phobia, most likely you won't be able to name any person who got into a plane crash, will you? But if I ask you about people who have cancer, you'll name about 10 people you know immediately, those who died of cancer or those who has been treated for it and now is in the stage of remission. But there is a big difference between phobia and a healthy fear. A healthy fear is when I just follow some preventive measures. Try not to smoke, not to drink alcohol, and try to live in some eco-friendly place, do my best and try not to worry. So to say, try to reduce risk factors of the progression of oncological diseases, in spite of having a genetic predisposition to it. And phobia paralyzes a person, it subdues and captures him. He is no longer able to control the reality. It refers to phobias. By the way, talking about prevention, I myself know a lot of people who died of cancer or who has been treated for it, and now they're in the stage of remission. These people didn't drink alcohol, didn't smoke, didn't sunbathe, they hadn't any serious stress, they just died of cancer. That's it. I'm talking on the question of prevention. Actually, it is such a mystery concerning all these things. And I also know opposite cases when a huge number of sociopaths, smokers, alcoholics, and stressed people lived calmly, died, and hadn't any cancer. Like that. Okay, I got carried away a bit. I want to say that I decided to make this video because of a very beautiful girl, Stella, that has died of cancer recently. A very beautiful girl. Then I started watching the TV show about Жанна Frisky, and because of the TV show and all these videos on YouTube, I decided to make a video about cancerophobia. I also have a lot of patients who have such a situation when their loved one died of cancer or is having cancer now. This phobia doesn't appear from nowhere, though it can be part of some other mental disorder. I mean cancerophobia. It can appear if someone's loved one dies or has cancer, and the person becomes afraid of it automatically. I don't want to encounter this. And at this moment, cancerophobia may start developing in a person. It can appear as a result of stress, anxiety, and the process of taking care of your loved one. Her husband was dying in pain, and she has been clearing up vomit, puke, poo, and diapers after him for 1 year and a half. He was getting thinner, he was dying, suffering, was getting bald, and so on, all this endless chemotherapy, so she knows what it's like. And today she herself has cancerophobia and constantly goes to doctors. Let's have a look at two types of people suffering from cancerophobia. The first type is avoidant one. This type is afraid of undergoing any medical examination. They stay away from doctors, try not to watch TV, not to talk about fear of getting cancer, and so on. They avoid everything, and they are overwhelmed with fear of dying from cancer. They don't touch themselves. God forbid, God forbid, God forbid. And as a rule, such people say, if I know that I have something, I'm not going to get any treatment. I don't want to die in pain, as for example, my brother, husband, or mother did. Yeah, she lived 1 year longer. But what year it was, the person says. How painful it was. I'd better live for 2 months or 2 weeks, but it will be a fairly full life without all these losses. Especially it concerns women. They know that they will turn bald, get ugly, poopy, they will piss themselves, they will be on puke and all this horror, that they also will bring pain and suffering to their relatives, that they will suffer because of them. And the second type walks down a hypochondriac way, when a person lives in hospitals. He lives there and tortures doctors constantly. No, I haven't got enough medical examinations. I haven't. I want to get it again. And he does as many medical tests as he can. As many as he can. Cancerophobia can also be triggered by different benign tumors. Benign tumors. For example, a woman was told that she has a breast lump, but it's benign, or some uterine fibroid, or something else, and she starts panicking, and from this moment, the woman starts exaggerating it, and so on and so forth, and she gets cancerophobia. Let's look at the way I choose with my patient in this case. Firstly, on the basis of it, there won't be only fear of getting cancer, but there will also be some major reason of this anxiety. Perhaps there is something happening in the patient's life, and he dislikes it very much. He is worried about another unsolved problem so much that he focused his attention on this ruddy cancer. He focused his attention on it, so there is an impression that this sphere of his life he can control so far. And he does it. But in fact, his problem is far different. He is afraid to look there, and it's important to touch these painful spots in the therapy, which the patient tries to avoid. My patients, especially those who have been coming to me for a long time, will confirm that I like working with the idea of death at my consultations. It's my forte, and they know it. We die with them, even if there wasn't such a request. We'll discuss the topic of finitude anyway, because death is the thing which gives us life. It's a trap called, I have the future, I have 38 lives and I still have time for everything. I have time to wear this dress. I have time to have kids. I have time to go to Maldives. I have time for everything. You won't. You won't, because it's a trap. You won't have time. And the idea of finitude in particular, which means that I might not be here today or tomorrow anymore, makes me to plan a trip to some beautiful place today, to enjoy my delicious food today, to have a fantastic sex that I can afford myself today. Today. I'll do it for myself today. And that's the thing that gives me comfort and freedom. There is nothing to be afraid of anymore. I have my death. It is sure to come. I'll die for sure. And if I'm bound to die, then it's not so important how people look at me, how they judge me by what I've said or the other way around haven't said. It becomes so insignificant, so unimportant, and it finally unchains me, and I can feel free. I can work where I want, I can live with the person I want, that's it. I can finally enjoy this life, because I've realized that we all were thrown on this planet just to buzz, enjoy, grab something pleasant, and then go to the world of his own vision. Someone will go to Allah, someone will go to hell, the other will reborn as a fish or a parrot, or someone the life will end, how he sees it. It depends on his vision and belief. That's why death is an essential part of any deep psychotherapy, even if it is not connected with cancerophobia. We will necessarily work with the topic of death with the patient. By the way, do you agree with me? Perhaps you want to argue about it, like, no, it's not like that. I think that it's the major, firstly, it's the most basic and primary fear, that's it, death, is the biggest and the only fear. And then the rest cling to it. People are very afraid of this finitude. How will I be dying? Many people who have cancerophobia are not afraid of death, but of sufferings. Because we don't know how we'll act when we are diagnosed with such a horrible disease. Nobody knows. Perhaps such a bravado of, I'm not going to get a treatment, I prefer to die a fast and a beautiful death, it's just a bravado of a healthy person. But when he hears the verdict, a person changes his mind and clings to life. Yet he understands that he will be pooing and pissing himself getting bold, he will be vomiting, he won't be able to enjoy food, everything will be disgusting and sickly, though he chooses this way. Like this. I wanted to say something else concerning this question. How many minutes? I've been talking for 11 minutes. I wanted to say something more concerning this question. So death gives us life. The idea of death should save us. A lot of girls say, no, I don't want to think about death. I don't want to. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. Like, I'm not afraid of death. But I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of the process of dying. What will it be? Will it be painful? Will it be loneliness? Will it be fear? What will it be? Nobody knows. My daughter asked me, Mom, where had I been when I wasn't here yet? And then I answered her, and what do you think, where had I been when I wasn't here yet? Where had we been when we weren't here yet? We weren't afraid. There is an idea like, you weren't afraid when you hadn't been here yet, you just weren't here, that's it. And perhaps the same will be when you will no longer be here, but it's so hard to imagine. How's that? I want the show to be going on. I want people to guarantee me, I want God, my parents, or anyone else to guarantee me eternity. That's where all scriptures were born. Because a person is afraid of finitude so much, he can't imagine himself. What if he, such a beautiful person, won't exist anymore? That's why a person clings to guarantees. I need guarantees. By the way, I want guarantees too. Sometimes I have such regrets like, maybe I should have had some belief, maybe I should have had some solid religion. I would have sat now and believed firmly that I will run around the Garden of Eden and eat peaches. And now I have to face fear and apprehensions. But if I have chosen the idea of religion, the idea of heaven and hell, everything would have been clear for me. By the way, that's why a lot of old women start believing. Fear is the thing that moves them. The fear that she won't wake up today or tomorrow. She won't wake up. Sometimes it seemed for me that old people have such a wisdom, and I often ask them, like, what's the point? Come on, you'll die tomorrow, what's the point? Perhaps you've made some global conclusion and you have something to share? No. They don't have anything special to share. And lots of them grow stupid. In fact, the majority of old people turn into some foolish children in their old age. So we can't hear any wise and bright idea from them. My darling, I'm sending you my hugs and kisses. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel as not to miss my other videos. And subscribe to my Instagram too. And thank you for my request to offer topics for new videos. And I received so many interesting topics. I'm going to sort them out. There are about 1,000 of them. Can you imagine? More than 1,000. There are about 800 topics on Instagram and lots of topics on Contact and Facebook. It will be enough for 6 months for me. I'm going to read and sort them out. This is it. See you later.